What's up, y'all? Welcome to the newest season of For the Love of Nails. On tonight's episode, we are doing a freestyle set that is inspired by the newest TV show P-Valley. In this set, you're going to see me going in here with a sanding band, and right now I'm just blending that fake tip in with the natural nail tip. I have already put the tips on, as you can see at this point, and rule of thumb with applying tips: if a tip is too small or too big, you'll always want to go in with the bigger tip and just go ahead and file that down so that way it fits sidewall to sidewall. That way you avoid any lifting or just the nail completely popping off, which is some things that you could run into if you use a smaller tip. So you're going to just see me continue on blending that in, and then we'll go in and start our freestyle set. And we'll also check in with Lil Murder later and see how he's feeling about our freestyle set. Stay tuned. So after you've, blended in the tips, you're obviously going to want to go in with your primer and dehydrator and make sure that you have that nail plate fully dehydrated. So that way, when you're laying your beads, you don't have to worry about them not laying properly or lifting. The drier the nail plate, the better the acrylic will adhere. So the better it will stick to your natural nail plate. And so I've already put my primer and dehydrator on, so now I'm just going in and we're starting our freestyle now. So just checking back in with you guys. See, are you guys still hanging in there with me? So right now, if you're confused about what I'm doing an ombre on this particular nail, and what I'm doing is I'm pretty much, it depends on the length of the nail that you're working on. Since this is a longer set, I did bring the base color up a little bit higher, so that way when I'm blending in the nude color from the nail plate down to the tip, it'll be easier to go ahead and blend that in. So that's what you see me doing there. All these colors here that I'm using are from my collection. They were all mixed by myself, and I'm calling this the P-Valley collection. And so I decided that I would do a P-Valley inspired freestyle to start it off. And as promised, we are going to be checking in with some of the cast members and see what they feel about my set. So keep watching. One thing I did want to mention is, when you are working with acrylic, if you do pick up a bead that is too wet, you can always go in, just wipe off your brush. Don't get discouraged. You can just easily point the finger down and the acrylic will actually flow to the tip. At the end of the day, the acrylic is really under your control. So you can easily just take your finger and get anything that's up under the nail while it's still wet. Better to do it while it's wet than when it dries, and then you have a lot of filing to do, and it just makes it a lot easier on you. So do not get discouraged if you pick up a wet bead. Just dry your brush off a little bit before you go back in, point that finger down, and remember, you are in control. So one thing you want to remember when you are doing your encapsulated nail art is that you definitely want to try to start with a very thin layer of clear acrylic. That way you can, add in whatever hearts or stars or I usually try to like spread them out on a napkin so that way you know which ones you want to choose from. And then you just kind of lay those on there while the acrylic is wet, and you want to keep going in with that clear layer so that way it lays flat. Of course, in the end, you're going to encase everything in clear acrylic, so you're definitely going to want to start off with a thin layer. That way when you go in with the structure of this nail, you don't have to worry about it being too thick. So the next step in this process is to go ahead and complete your ombre. You're going to do that by going in with whatever base that your client wants. It could be another color, it could be nude like how I'm using here, or it could be like your nude pink, but pretty much this is what's going to go from the nail plate over the nail tip. So all I'm doing now is just bringing in my beads of nude, and I'm just pretty much just swiping down to the tip of the nail so that way it's perfectly blended in, so you don't see harsh lines of the pink. I know in the beginning this can be kind of difficult to do the blending, so don't be discouraged if it's your first time doing an ombre. It does take time. I know that social media and YouTube make it seem like it's really easy, but it definitely does take time to get it down packed. So even if you have to go in with another smaller bead just to make sure that it blends the way you want it to look for your client, you do that. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm going in with the nude colors and I'm blending that in. You also want to be sure that when you're going in with your beads that are going to be close to that cuticle area, that you make sure that you don't get super close with the bead and you kind of just let it flow, because if you get too close to the cuticle and that bead begins to flood, it's going to flood your cuticle area. And if you get any type of flooding in the cuticle area, that is going to cause your nail to lift. So you do see me, even myself, going in and going around that cuticle area with my brush while the acrylic is still wet, so that way I can make sure that I'm not flooding that area. That's very important when it comes to lifting and pretty much the longevity of your nail. that, and also your apex. You're going to want to make sure you do have a strong apex so that way it can carry the weight of the nail. So the longer the nail, you're going to want to make sure that that apex is stronger. It doesn't mean thicker, it just means strong enough to protect however long that tip is going to be. So just keep that in mind. All right, so now that I've filled in all of my ombre and I've completed the base of the design, I'm gonna go in with my clear acrylic and I'm just gonna encase this entire design in clear. And the reason why we do that is so when we go in to file, that we do not file off any of the colored acrylic. And what you see me doing right there when I was working on the pinky was she had actually got her pinky touched the towel while it was still wet. So I had to go in with a small bead of nude just to get rid of the lumps or bumps that was there from the towel. So I will go back in and encase that pinky in clear. But right now I'm going to just go in and encase all 10 nails in that clear acrylic. And then we'll go in and file. All right, so now that all the nails have been encased in clear acrylic, I'm going in with my file. I am using a 80/80 grit. You can use whichever grit you like. I do like to have a sharper point, and of course, I like it to be precise, so I use the 80/80 grit. You use what works best for you. Of course, as you gain more confidence in being a nail tech, you will change up some of the techniques. So these are just, starting points. But yeah, so I'm gonna go in and file this out, and then from there we will check in with our special guest as promised. All right, so now on this part, you guys just see me using a sanding band, and I'm pretty much just going around the cuticle area and just pretty much the base of the nail to make sure that there's not any lumps or bumps, and getting up underneath the nail in case anything rolled over that I did not catch while it was wet. I'm using my sanding band now to take care of that. So that's what you guys see me doing here. after we went in with our sanding van, and I did use a coarse grit bit just to go around the cuticle area. You always want to try your best to seal that cuticle area as best as possible. That's going to help you with any lifting, and if they lift, then you have to worry about them getting water under there, and that's where we get the greenies. So to avoid that, I just like to seal it, and then I go in with my buffer and I'm just buffing out the nails, just making sure that they're smooth, so that way when I put that top coat on, all you see is flawlessness. So as promised, we did reach out to some cast members from P-Valley. It looks like Lil Murda was in the studio, so hopefully he's got something good coming for us. But I was able to reach Uncle Clifford, so let's see what he had to say about the set we did, shall we? So one thing I wanted to do in creating this set, and I wanted to make sure I mentioned this before I got, Uncle Clifford on the line, is that I wanted to capture the essence of, P-Valley and some of the most important rules. I think that the show had a lot of empowerment, I think, in different ways for women. And I just wanted to recap on one of the most important rules. So that's the reason why I added in the writing. Hey, Uncle Clifford, I know you couldn't make it in the studio, so thank you for joining us on this here video. Let us know what you think about the nails.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and these asses and titties. Amen? Amen.
Okay, Uncle. So we'll take that as in you like them. Amen, everyone. So as I was saying, I was trying to capture the essence of, P-Valley. So I did pull one of your quotes. What do you think is the most important rule at the Pink?
What on Clifford rule number 24.5?
There's no crying at the paint.
Exactly. Now,
do apologize, guys. On this part here, all I'm doing is just applying the diamonds, the bling. It kind of did lose focus. I didn't realize I had traveled so far off screen, so I apologize about that. This is my first video, so of course they will only get better with time. But yeah, as you can see, I just put the stones on there, and I'm pretty much just using the Mia Secret gel resin and spray, and that is the only thing that I do use, just because of how well the stones adhere. They usually stay on at least 2 weeks or more. So yep, just applying stones here. So on this part, you just see me going in with a clear top coat, gel top coat, and I'm just encasing everything in clear gel. And we're gonna let that cure. My nail lamp cures for 60 seconds. So while we wait for that 60 seconds, I wanna ask Uncle Clifford before we get him off the line. Can you tell us, or maybe have Diamond tell us, what is the next most important rule at the pink?
Uncle Clifford rules. No funny money, no bullets, and no motherfucking chips.
Thank you, Diamond, for tapping in and letting us know of those very important rules. You guys, please don't let them forget. So now you guys are just seeing me finishing up the last part, which is just putting that clear top coat on, getting those nails in the dryer and ready to dry, and getting picture ready. So you use whatever top coat works best for you. I like to use Elixir or like a not polished top coat. Either one of those are very beautiful with a nice high shine gloss. And so yeah, that's what we're doing here. All right, y'all, so this is the final look, my P-Valley inspired nails. This is it. They definitely give me P-Valley vibes. I love the pink and the glitter. I love the little sayings. The only thing I did forget to show is that the yellow does glow in the dark. So we'll have to catch that on the next one. But if you did like this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Good night, y'all.